I follow your advice on choosing between Roth versus traditional 401k, but I am nervous about being overweight in one of those categories and giving myself fewer options in the future. How should I think about this?
Well, if Brian were here, he'd tell you there's no such thing as being overweight in Roth.
He loves
can't
Roth
have
so
too
much.
much Roth.
Yes.
But what happens most of the time is someone says, okay, guys, I listened to your rule on how to do pre-tax versus traditional. By the way, as a way of reminder, Reeves, this is the way we say it. If you take your marginal tax rate, so marginal is just the next dollar that you earn, what will be taxed at? You take your marginal federal rate, add it to your marginal state rate, combine those two. If it's below 25%, there's a good chance you should be doing Roth because you're in a pretty low tax bracket. If you add that marginal federal, you add that marginal state, it's above 30%, there's a good chance you should be doing traditional because you're saving, like every dollar you put into your account can save you 30 cents in taxes, like a 30% imputed rate of return. So what we see a lot of times is people get to high earning, whether it be an individual household, years pretty early on, and they start maxing out their traditional 401ks and putting money in these tax deferred vehicles. And they can't do Roth because maybe they make too much money or maybe they don't have the right account structure to do backdoors. And so they build traditional. And so Huey right here says, man, I'm nervous about being over concentrated in one. And look, I get that. I would ask how old you are. Because like if you're in your 30s, I don't think you're likely not going to have a problem because there's a really good chance later on in your life, when you retire, when you go to start pulling money out, depending on what your other income sources look like, depending on how you're following the food, depending on if you're building up at least two of the tax buckets, the pre-tax bucket and then the after-tax bucket, you get to pick and choose what you pay in taxes. We did a great Making a Millionaire episode where we showed them, hey, based on your income right now, guys, even though you have this large 7-figure portfolio, we can manipulate your income in such a way where we can begin doing Roth conversions this year. Like we can pay taxes to convert pre-tax assets to Roth at low tax brackets. That money is going to then become Roth, and those Roth dollars are going to go tax-free into the future. I would argue for someone like Huey, there's a really good chance that you're going to have opportunities to do that later on. So again, back to this little analogy, one in the hand is better than two in the bush. If I can get 30% plus tax savings today, well, man, I'm going to go do that, max out my 401k, get that 30% tax savings. And with that tax savings, then I'm going to go fund a backdoor Roth if I can. Or if I can't do that, then I'm going to go fund my after-tax brokerage account. And it's actually going to allow me to save more money for the future and give me more opportunities in the future. So I would do the best you can. And then as you work through the FOO, as you begin defining what's the finish line, what's the end date look like, what's the end goal look like, you'll begin building the buckets based on your personal strategy, not just the generalized guideline strategy that we try to walk you through with the FOO.